Going in right now, sir. There you go.
Tell me your name, please.
Brian Warren.
Go ahead and see Mr. Warren. Thank you. All right, we're calling case of the People State of Michigan versus Jarrell Leon Ojeda, file 200937SD. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please tell me how to say your name correctly?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jarrell Ojeda.
All right, pretty close.
Yeah.
Mr. Ojeda, today's the time and date set for show cause. Let me show you on the computer screen that we're calling your case. It's file 200937SD. I'm going to show you a copy of a document on computer screen. Let me know when you see it. It should be there about now.
I see it.
All right. The allegation is that you failed to report for the month of April 2021, which would be his first technical violation of probation. If that is true, you could receive up to 5 days in jail or have other tests increased, or I could fine you. The law changed recently. I used to be able to put you in jail for up to the maximum penalty, up to 93 days. But it is now 5 days for a first violation. That does not mean that's what I'm going to do. That's just the maximum that could happen. Now, you have a right to have a hearing regarding this allegation. You could hire a lawyer, or I could appoint one for you. You could see here and question witnesses against you, subpoena witnesses. You could even testify if you wanted to, but you wouldn't have to because you have the right to remain silent. But the burden of proof is lower. It's preponderance. In other words, is it more likely true than not that you didn't show up in the month of April? And rules of evidence don't apply. So my staff could just submit a document saying he didn't check in. And I'd have to believe it was true, but there may not be a person testifying. It could be just a piece of paper. So do you understand what the allegation is against you, sir?
Yes.
Do you understand right now the maximum penalty that I could impose against you if you were found to be in violation?
Yes, I do.
You understand your right to a hearing and your right to a lawyer to represent you at the hearing?
Yes.
How do you wish to proceed? Do you wish to admit guilt to the violation, or do you wish to have a hearing and plead not guilty?
I admit to the violations.
Okay. If you could please raise your right hand where I could see it. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You can put your hand down
Yes,
now. Has anyone promised you anything to get you to plead to this, or threatened you in any way to get you to plead to this when you really do not want to?
No, it's just honesty and integrity.
Okay. Are you right now under the influence of any medicines, drugs, or alcohol that's confusing you?
No.
All right. You understood your right to a hearing and your right to a lawyer to represent you at the hearing, and you decided to waive those rights. Is that true?
Correct.
How do you plead to violating your probation for failing to report for the month of April of 2021? Guilty, not guilty, or stand mute?
Guilty. And I just want to apologize to Mr. Alexander as well.
Okay. Do you acknowledge you're on probation to the 75th District Court?
Yes.
Your terms of probation is that you're supposed to report frequency determined by your probation agent. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
You failed to report in April of this year. Is that true?
Yes.
All right. So you seem like a person who wants to acknowledge when they've done something wrong. You've apologized. You're dressed with a tie and a shirt. Looks like you're a person who takes responsibility. What the heck happened in April?
Dressed this way, definitely for the court, but also I'm a graduate teaching assistant at Central Michigan University.
Congratulations.
This afternoon.
Well, I just said the reason you were dressed nice is it just tells me that you probably take things seriously. I just don't know why you didn't take April's meeting with Mr. Alexander seriously. What happened?
A lot of stress. Sorry, my alarm just went off. A lot of stress just with midterms and my exams coming up. I was sick. I forgot. I have the date right here. Thursday, April 15th is the date that I should have called him. A couple days passed. I remembered, and I don't know. It's my responsibility. to make contact with him for sure.
Okay, so
And
let me
I
step
just
back. Okay, I totally get that. I find the plea's been made knowingly, understandingly, voluntarily. But you told me that you're a graduate now, and you said you're are you a teacher? What did you graduate with?
I'm a GA.
Oh, okay.
Trying to obtain a master's degree in economics.
Okay. So do you teach classes then as part of trying to make money to pay for your master's class?
Yeah, I grade papers, teach like intro to economics.
So as a person who enjoys economics and understands economics, you understand supply and demand. So there's consequences for decisions made, right? So I'm certain if I ask you, I would say, okay, what will happen in the economy if we flood it with a bunch of money? And then what happens as far as the demand on products, which ultimately what does it do to price? And you'd be able to tell that to me right off the top of your head. There's supply and demand. I demand you to go and meet with your counselor. And if you don't, we'll supply you an opportunity to sit in the Midland County Jail if you mess this up next time. So we just need to make sure that you're taking this seriously. I get it. Stress is big, but I also got to think that coming onto court, having to tell the judge that you screwed up added a little bit of stress too, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm guessing probably figuring out a way to squeeze some time in during the April 15th would have been less stressful than having to worry about if you go to jail. I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay. Well, as long as we're learning it's all right for people to make mistakes. We just want them to learn from it, right? All right, Mr. Alexander, do you have a recommendation for me what you think I should do with Mr. Ojeda?
Yes, Your Honor. To give you a little background, when Mr. Ojeda was put on pretrial services for this offense, he was on a diversion program through the tribal court called Healing to Wellness. It was very intensive. Most of the time he was on a scram alcohol monitor and doing multiple meetings per week. And he was sent upon his sentencing. I kept him assigned with me because he was on track to graduate that Healing to Wellness program. And ultimately he did graduate from the program on March 29th. He was sentenced to 12 months of probation with us back in December. And with the new laws, he would have been qualified for an early discharge as early as June. And when he graduated from the Healing to Wellness program through the tribal court, essentially his supervision goals had been met at that point. I spoke to Jarrell on March 24th, just prior to that graduation, and we discussed his aftercare and how he was going to be seeking a counselor in Mount Pleasant. He was going to be getting a sponsor lined up. He was going to be attending meetings. He was confident about his sobriety. He was in a good groove with school and work. And that's when I set the appointment, next reporting date for April 15th. And I didn't hear from him. I tried calling him. I was able to, when I called him, to send an SMS message via text. And I also emailed him. I tried calling him again on May 3rd, the same status, and it didn't get any sort of response. So my initial thinking was that he went back to drinking alcohol after his discharge from the tribal court program, and I couldn't find a reason why he would stop contacting me. I'm glad he's here today. He's dressed appropriately, he sounds well, but we wanted to finish supervision on a good stride. And with him not reporting, that it's kind of hard to do. I'd asked that the court find him in violation of his probation today as his first technical violation, that the court continue him on probation. Obviously, his early discharge date would be set back, but we may have to review where he's at as far as the substance abuse programming he has in place, because I don't know where he's at right now.
Okay. Mr. Ojeda, let me ask you a question. If you're grading the papers, if a student if you're grading papers and you hand it in, you kind of figure out how many are missed, and then you probably tell the professor, and the professor awards the grade. Is that right? Or do they have you actually give the grade A, B, C, D, whatever?
I give the grades in certain cases.
Okay. So what would a grade be for a student of yours if they got every question right, but didn't turn in the paper?
Turned it in late.
No, just didn't turn it in.
I can see where you're coming from. I see that.
I
I don't
wanna make sure
really know how to answer it, but
know
that's
the
why
answer,
I'm
but
apologizing to
No, that's
Miss
I
Alexander.
want to make sure that we've connected. I'm just going to continue your probation. I'm not going to put you in jail. I just want to know the person earned an A, but they couldn't get the A because they just didn't turn the stupid paper in. That's all. That's where you're at.
Yeah.
It sounds like you did. You did so much more than what we would have required you to do, because the program that Thrive has is so much more intensive on OWIs. You scored an A and didn't turn your paper in. That's what you did. So now we're like, well, I don't know. Maybe you got them right. Maybe you got them all wrong. I don't know what happened. And Mr. Alexander, it'd be like you then contacting the student and texting them saying, hey, you know what? You're the top of the class. I'm surprised you wouldn't have turned your paper in. There's only so much effort you're going to put into it. So I'm going to give you the pass this time. So this is the time where we got a hold of the A student. We said, I have no idea why you wouldn't turn your paper in. You probably did really good, but now you got to take the test again, because that's exactly what's going to happen. So I don't expect to see you again. You're a really smart young man. You understand consequences. You should know the cause and effect. And that's exactly the same here. It's just different. It's social as opposed to, money. But you don't put the weird part is you probably got an A, but now we're going to have to take the test again. So we're going to give you a little grace this time. Mr. Alexander, when and how do you want to meet with Mr. Ojeda?
Your Honor, I'd have him give me a call this afternoon, and I'll set a date for his next report date by Zoom.
So let me get this straight. Under the new statute, which allows people to get off a halfway point, except they can't have a violation in the last 3 months. So essentially, the earliest he can get back off again would be June, July, August, early September.
Correct. When it could have been June if he followed through.
Okay. I think he understands that now. All right.
I do.
Talk with Mr. Alexander. You're an A student, Mr. Ojeda. Just turn in the paperwork.
All right. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll be adjourned.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Midland County Jail, do we have Mr. Smith?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. You just moved on me from one spot to the other. All right. Mr. Smith,
Your Honor?
I apologize.
Your-
Yes.
Could we just verify his full name, because we have 2 Kelly Smiths in the jail?
Oh, let's get the right one. What's your middle name?
Kelly Lee Smith,
Kelly Lee. Okay, what's your date of birth, Kelly?
9/18/98.
All right. Let me just make sure. I'll pull up one of the files. 16, 17, 06. That's the one I have. All right. All right, Mr. Smith. It helps me when I'm interacting with somebody that doesn't seem to not care. A lot with body language. You look with your hands behind your head. It looks as if you don't care, and you're sitting in the middle of County.
Sorry.
You have a lot of cases open, but I need to make sure that we've covered all of them. Most of them are for just not paying. So those cases, you owe a bunch of money, and here's the issue. I think that we've wiped out everything that we could, because not all of it's owed to the county. So we can't get rid of somebody else's money. Those cases, you have to pay because it just keeps growing back again. I can forgive late fees and I can forgive some penalties, but I can't ultimately forgive what's owed to the state of Michigan. And long term, I mean, you're a fairly young man, but if you want to have a driver's license again and you want to have things go in the right positive direction, you're going to have to pay those fines and costs. And we've got them at the bare minimum. If we could offer something, we would, because we don't want to chase you. But I can't make those go away. And so some of them are like $45, some are $85. The highest one out of all these 15 or 16 of them is $255. And the way the beast, or there's a $270. the way the beast works is that if you pay some money, a little bit, it keeps the interest rates from coming on. So if you give a little bit towards each one, you keep it from growing. Do you understand? All right.
Yeah.
The other thing is you're going to have to put your foot on a diet or drive better, or you actually need to get your driver's license, because you've not had good luck. You've got 4 open cases now. One's for driving a license suspended second. We've got a pretrial on May 25th. Another for not having insurance. 2 of them for driving a license suspended, and then 1 for destruction of property over 200. The problem is if you don't show up to court, we have to keep you in jail because we got to get these cases processed. And I don't know why you didn't show up to court last time.
I thought I did show up to court for the malicious destruction of property, but the other ones I didn't show up to court because I don't know. It's honestly, it just scares me. Like I don't want to go to jail. You know that I don't want to go to jail. So I just don't, I mean, I'm just scared, honestly. I don't know what to do.
But look where
money's tight.
Hang on, but look where you ended up. The very place you were scared of. So we need to get this straightened around. And you don't have an attorney, or you're just not planning on getting one? I mean, let me ask you this. What do you do for a living?
I work construction.
What kind of construction?
I build pole barns for my family. Well,
Okay.
for other people, but with my family.
Sure. Your family
But,
owns the business to go build pole barns. All right.
Yeah.
So you're building those pole barns. You've probably grown up with it your whole life. So you probably really understand all the tricks to being able to get the trusses in place so you don't have to worry about the wind. And you probably understand getting the purlins straightened around so that you don't have to worry about the structure swaying. And you probably understand about getting the sheeting on and getting the shingles on in the right order when things start getting wet. And all the new guys, they don't know that. They don't know what's going to go on, right?
Right.
But if they don't do what's right, all of you suffer, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you might be a smart young man and know all about the pole barn business, but I don't think you know the rules of evidence. And you got this destruction of property for which you could go to jail for 93 days. And when I'm looking at somebody that's got 20 cases, I'm looking at it going, all right, 3 things to change a person's behavior: money, probation, and jail. And you would be saying on your own part, hey, I might have done this, but I shouldn't go to jail. Well, don't you think you'd want to have somebody who could figure out the best way to argue on your behalf what the best outcome would be for you?
Yeah.
Well, it'd be like the new guy trying to figure out which way the trusses go or how to get them up there. You don't want to put that new guy in charge, I wouldn't think. Because what happens? You got to rework.
Right.
Right?
Touch stuff twice.
Tough choice. But we haven't been able to get in touch with you for a period of time. And so Mr. Ladwig revoked your bond. We've got court date for you tomorrow on some of your cases. I'm going to leave it that way short term because I think long term you're going to end up having some fines and costs, but short term you got to stay put till we can get the cases done. So if you're telling me you'd like to have an attorney for that case, I will assign one for everyone. I don't know if the attorney could get up to speed. These are pretty easy cases. Destruction of property, I would think, is a pretty easy case to keep up on, but everything you have is driving except for that last one. Ms. Hoffman, are you assigned to Mr. Smith's pretrial services?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So when you get back out, and you will, we need to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Everything was driving except that last one. That last one has me concerned. So usually destruction of property is kind of an anger issue. Most everything else is driving. It's not anger. I don't want you talking because you might end up saying something your lawyer didn't want you to. Okay.
Right.
But when you're charged with a crime that has some kind of destruction, we just want to make sure you don't have an anger issue, or it's maybe it was a one-time incident. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe you didn't mean to damage it. You threw a hammer. I don't know the facts because I haven't looked at it. Maybe you just threw your hammer because you were mad, hit somebody's car. I don't know. But we're trying to find out about you to make sure that you're not going to fly off the handle again or hurt somebody. And that's what pretrial services does. So that's why we want you to engage with them. They may look at you, talk with you, talk with the
I'm gonna,
people who are experts and say, he doesn't need anything. Or they may say, yeah, a little bit of counseling on how to make better decisions might be necessary.
I'm gonna get a lawyer for the malicious destruction of property. I'm gonna assign a lawyer for that. The rest of them, I don't. The driving
Okay.
cases, I could get I could get a court appointed for them if you would, or I could just have the one for my malicious destruction of property do those two. That'd
So
probably
let's
be
make sure,
easier.
let's make sure that we're communicating. When you say, I think I'm going to get a lawyer, that tells me you plan on hiring your own attorney. Is that true?
Yeah,
Okay. So do you have family and friends to be able to get that taken care of?
yeah.
Ms. Hoffman, how long has he been sitting in jail?
I believe 5 days, Judge.
Mr. Smith, if you have not followed through with anything on 20 cases, why should I trust you to let you back out of jail now? Because I'm asking to know that you would do what you're supposed to do, be where you're supposed to be, pay what you're supposed to pay. Why can I trust you when in file 16-1706 you haven't paid the $45, and 16P 228708A and B you haven't paid, you owe $85. In file 16S 399842A, B, and C, you haven't paid, you owe $85 each. In file 16S 40162A and B, you haven't paid. In file 16403-105A, you haven't paid. In file 180842, you haven't paid. In file 190640, you haven't paid. 191429, you haven't paid. In file 19P259736A, you haven't paid. In file 20S425433A, you haven't paid. What makes you think you're going to get a lawyer? What makes you think you're going to pay? What makes you think you're going to show up to court? What's different today than before?
What's different is the malicious destruction of property. I don't know how I want it. Like, I had no fault in that. That's just
That's not my
absurd.
question. Hang on. That's not my question. My question is, how do I know you're going to do what you're supposed to do? Show up when you're supposed to show up, pay when you're supposed to pay. Not about whether you fight it. You can fight it all day long. I get paid sitting listening to.
I can come and pay.
trial.
I can come and pay something today.
So why weren't you doing it before?
Just so much stacked up. It just feels like I'm in a hole I can't dig myself out of.
Well, when you're in a hole, what's the first thing you're supposed to do?
Try to dig out of it.
You're supposed to stop
Try.
digging. You're right.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
supposed to
that
stop
too.
digging. Don't keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. You got 20 cases here. Ms. Hoffman, the concern was he did not appear for pretrial services on your case? You haven't heard
Correct.
anything from?
I attempted to call him a couple of times and then never heard a response. I think I waited almost a week to request the show cause, so I have yet to even speak to him regarding the case. And it's been several failure to appears from what I can tell on multiple files.
We'll let you out. How do I know you're not just going to go out to the next pole barn and work on that and forget about court?
Got to go by my word, I guess.
I would think 5 days in jail gets you to think about life, where you want to be and what you want to do. How do you like it in there?
It sucks.
Good. It should. Should be a place you don't want to go. Trina, what's our next dates for Mr. Smith?
Your Honor, our next date is tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Well, Mr. Smith, we're going to know whether you're true to your word or not. I'm going to lift all the bench warrants, let you out of jail. I'm expecting you to make it down here before 5 o'clock and make some payments, and I expect you to show up in person tomorrow. Is it 9 a.m.? So typically he wouldn't have to, right? But I want him to because I want to see if he's telling me the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're going to come down here to court tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Now, what if I have a hold in a different county? What if they come and get me?
Well, if they have a hold in a different county, that's not your fault. And the jail will tell me that you went to a different county, but I suspect the minute we release you, then that county's got to decide whether it's going to put up or shut up. So you owe money. Which county has a hold on you, do you think?
Saginaw.
Do you just owe money, or do you have a new case down there?
It's kind of a new case, kind of owe money.
Kind of a mixed bag, huh?
Yeah,
Well, it's not your fault.
but
You
they
can't
might
make
not
it
come and get me.
That's true, but the jail will tell me if you're there. So if you're still there tomorrow morning, you just tell the jail staff, and guess what? We talk every single day. And they'll say, Mr. Kelly, Lee Smith is still in jail. And I'll say, okay. Then we'll just pull you up on the computer at 9 o'clock and we'll chat about it and we'll find out where you're going from there.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney for you. The attorney probably won't be able to see him tomorrow. I just want to make sure that he's in court. So Katrina, he has a 9 o'clock slot. Either we pull him up while he's in jail, or if they take you down to Saginaw, just tell the staff, jail staff, we talk all the time to try to figure out where the inmates are.
Your Honor, I do have an officer checking
Okay.
it right now.
Okay, to see if they're gonna pick him up. All right, I'm lifting all my warrants. Oh, my God.
If they want to come and get me, can I just stay here? Because I don't really want to go to Saginaw.
Nope. If Saginaw wants you, because I just left you free, so you get a chance to maybe
Your
see
Honor,
how
they did place a
Sag-
hold. They will be coming to get him.
Okay,
Oh
looks
my
like you're going
God.
to Saginaw. So good luck in Saginaw. When you get out, let me know. And then we'll if you're going to be there for a period of time, tell their jail staff, because we talk to Saginaw County Jail all the time. So now you get a chance to measure Midland's jail versus Saginaw's jail. Curious to see what you think.
Your
We're
Honor.
adjourned.
Your Honor?
Yes. Miss Hoffman first.
Could I get a valid phone number, and then also could he be instructed to contact myself or probation department upon
We'll put
release
you-
from wherever he's at?
Yeah, so we'll put you in a breakout room with Mr. Smith here real quick to get that information rather than broadcasting it out.
Okay,
So
Thank
Mr.
you.
Smith is going to put you in a breakout room with Ms. Hoffman. You stay put, okay? And then you can go after she's done talking with you.
Your Honor, if
Fuck
Saginaw
that.
is picking, if Saginaw is picking him up tomorrow or today, he does have a hearing tomorrow. How do you want us to handle that from our
We'll
end?
call
sir?
his case. If he shows up, if he doesn't show up, then we will put a new warrant out for him. So we'll have a hold and then we'll talk to Saginaw.
Excellent.
If
Thank
you're
you,
down
sir.
Saginaw for any length of time, we'll take care of your case from there. Good luck, sir.
Fuck off.
Oh, wait, why don't you come on back? Mr. Smith? Guess what? That's contemptuous court. I can put you in jail up to 93 days and then I can wait to sentence you till after you're done with Saginaw. Would you like to rethink your position?
I don't want to go to Saginaw.
Well, you're going. The issue is whether or not you then get to come back and spend for contempt of court. I'm giving you an opportunity to rethink your language.
I'm sorry.
All right. I will not hold you in contempt. We're adjourned.
He left, Your Honor. I didn't get to put them in a breakout room.
All right. Ms. Hoffman, why don't you call the jail, see if you can get a telephone number for him.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now, we've got some people here in court. I see Mr. Boucher. Do you have Mr. Warren with you?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, why don't you come on up? Calling the case of the People's State of Michigan versus Ryan Allen Warren. These are two files, file 21-0422 and 21-0423, SM and SD. Counsel, identify yourself for the record.
May it please the court, Matthew Boucher here on behalf of Ryan Warren, who is seated to my left, Your Honor.
All right. Today is the time and date set for bond violation. Have you had an opportunity to take a look at the allegations that have been leveled against your client?
I have, and I've discussed it with my client as well, Your Honor.
What is his intentions regarding the bond violations?
Your Honor, we are going to admit to the violations. A little background on the case. There are two files here, Your Honor. It is part of the same conduct. The allegations were a fight with a stepfather and then leaving and being stopped.
Being
at a gas
intoxicated
station.
when he left.
Correct. So we do have two files.
Not the first case that's actually happened on. Yep.
Just so the court's aware of that, it probably should have, neither here nor there, Your Honor, but ultimately, part of his conditions were to get enrolled with JNA and to complete testing. Your Honor, the allegations here are that he tested positive on April 27th for alcohol and some other substances. It does state that he admitted to using substances prior to the test. He also admitted to using opiates a few days prior to April 27th. So I think a situation here that he appears to get tested, he knows he's going to be positive, but he decides to be forthright about it, not make any excuses. He is present here in person today, Your Honor. I do know that I've been working with him. He does work up in Traverse City, and there's been some issues outside of the testing with JNA. He's been trying to get services transferred up there. That has not happened yet. That being said, it's not really relevant to the allegations here. Your Honor, he's been straightforward and forthright about what he's done. I do believe we have a resolution in sight. We don't have a court date until, I think, July on this matter, but we do have a resolution and an offer in place, and I presume that will resolve this matter. I'd ask the court to accept his admission with his explanation and maybe set this matter out to either the plea date or preferably the sentencing date, and see how he does from here on out and address it at that point.
So let me ask you a few questions, see if I understand. You said he's working in the Traverse City area. Is he living up there too then?
No.
You're just kind of driving up there?
Yeah, I drive there and back every day.
It's a lot of miles.
Yeah, it is.
The resolution would be a plea with the two different cases? Is
Yes,
what
Your Honor.
what you anticipate?
The offer at this point is pleading to an operating while intoxicated and a deferral under the domestic violence case.
So if we get a prosecutor
I'm sorry,
now,
Mr.
why-
Boucher is very difficult
Trailing off.
to hear you.
Yeah, he said it's currently the defendant's charged with a high BAC and an operating while intoxicated. The offer was for the plea to the operating while intoxicated, dismissed the high BAC, and then a recommendation for the deferral under the spouse abuse. If we can get a prosecutor now and they knew that that was going to take place, what we could do the plea, and that would speed up the whole process regarding sentencing, rather than waiting till July, because sentencing at that point in time wouldn't take place until 6 weeks after the plea, and then he's pretrial services that entire time, as opposed to moving on
Sure.
to sentencing.
Sure, and I did discuss with him moving the plea date up. We've had some discussions. I will be frank with this court. We haven't had full discussions on the resolution as it stands.
Oh, do you need a minute then? I didn't mean to push you. I just
No,
thought that was
no.
set in place.
I did discuss it with my client, and I do believe that we are going to resolve this matter, but we really focused today on the allegations here on the bond violation.
Fair point. Maybe we could give you a different date on a Tuesday. I just thought with your client here in the courtroom, it would keep him from having to miss another day of work or zoom in from a place where he was gone.
May I just have one moment, Your Honor?
You may.
Your Honor, Mr. Shawinski will be jumping on.
Okay.
Yeah, Your Honor, if we can get a new date, it doesn't have to be far out. My client would like to talk with me a little bit further. Like I said, Your Honor, we haven't really discussed it fully.
Not a problem. But we can move the date up though.
Absolutely.
Now that we've asked Mr. Stwinsky to show, we'll just have him pop in real quick. Ms. Tidwell?
Yes, Your Honor.
We're waiting for Mr. Stwinsky. I presume you're the pretrial services coordinator for Mr. Warren.
I am, Your Honor.
How's he done other than this first set of tests? Is there any other issues that are outstanding that you didn't have a chance
Yes,
to
Your
bring to
Honor.
my?
There's several. He's missed 4 tests since his positive test. So I haven't requested a new bond violation. This hearing was already set, but he has not tested since his positive test came back. Additionally, he's only called into the color line 5 out of the last 19 days. On top of that, his positive test was from the 27th. He did his assessment at JNA counseling on the 29th and said that he had no substance use at all besides alcohol and marijuana, which is contrary to what he's reported to me, that he has a severe opiate addiction. So he's not been honest with JNA, paid $185 for an assessment that is worth nothing. He's not testing appropriately. I can't get him to call in. He's
Okay.
not compliant with pretrial services.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna get a new date. Katrina, do we have the new date? Make it pretty soon.
Will June 8th work, Your Honor?
Yeah,
You want June 1st?
June 1st if we can.
Okay, give me 1 second. You're on June 1st at 9:45 a.m.
June 1st at 9:45. All right. Mr. Warren, my understanding is you're going to be pleading guilty to the bond violation.
Yes, sir.
All right, stand up, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead and have a seat. Can you hear him okay, Katrina?
If you could speak up, that would be helpful, Your Honor.
Pull your mask down to talk.
All right.
Your attorney indicated that you're not ready to do plea yet. You want to have some more discussion time, which is fine. We're going to do that on June 1st, but you're going to enter a guilty plea to your bond violation. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
You know, you could have had a hearing. Mr. Boucher's here. You could have challenged the allegations, but you've talked it over with him and you decided the best route for you is for you to admit them. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. How do you plead to violating your bond? Do you plead guilty, not guilty, or stand mute?
I plead guilty.
Do you acknowledge you're on bond to the 75th District Court for domestic violence and for high BAC and OWI?
Yes, Your Honor.
One of the terms of your probation is for you to not consume alcohol or use illegal drugs or recreational marijuana. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're also supposed to test when required. True?
Yes.
And go to get counseling and follow up with all the recommendations from JNA. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it true that you tested positive on April the 27th for alcohol and Suboxone?
Yes, sir.
You have a prescription for Suboxone?
I do not.
Did you tell Ms. Tidwell that you have used or had some addiction to morphine and oxycodone?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you tell that to the JNA
JNA counselor, I forget her name, but I did tell her that I have used opiates in the past and I have a problem with alcohol at the time.
Hard part is like going to your doctor, not giving them all the symptoms. If you give only part of the symptoms, you get the wrong diagnosis. So that's an issue. All right. If I comply with the court rule and had an adequate factual basis, Mr. Boucher,
Yes, Your Honor.
I believe I have as well. I find that the plea's been made knowingly, understandingly, voluntarily, and accurately. Will enter as a bond violation. I'm going to revoke your bond at this time. Mr. Warren, I want to have you clean and sober for the June 1st meeting. I am leaving open the option because I ultimately decide whether or not you get the spousal abuse deferral. Prosecutor can recommend it, but if you're not following all the recommendations in 5 out of 19 days not testing, he's telling me probably because you're driving all those hours, or it could be because you're using. I want to make sure your head's good and clear. You're remanded to the custody sheriff at this time. June 1st at 9:45. We'll have the next date for your cases. We'll be adjourned.
I'll set up a Zoom.
All right.
Can you call anybody?
Yeah, my mom.
Know what her number is though?
Yeah, 859 3047 or 8472. It's 859 8472.
7472. Okay, got it.
So
Thank you.
how long will I be sitting in jail for then?
So June 1st. After that, it'll all depend on how well you do while you're there. You can make yourself available to any classes that they have, and those are things you should do. You want to make sure you got good and clear-headed so you're making this decision good.
Okay.
I'll set it.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Boucher. I have two other gentlemen sitting in court, so I'm going to start with the one closest to me. Could you tell me your name, please? McCormick? That's her? You're with him? Okay. All right. His eyes got real big when I pointed at him. I think that was concern. All right, Katrina, we have Mr. Burton. Do we have Mr. Durand on video or not?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. McCormick, why don't you come on up? We're going to call a different case first, but have a seat in one of those. I don't care which chair, probably one of those two. All right, calling the case of the People State of Michigan versus Jeremy Durand, file 210504ST. Counsel, identify yourself for the record.
Leland Burton for Jeremy Durand.
All right, Mr. Burton, have you had any contact with your client recently?
Actually, I was checking. No, I have not.
All right. Ms. Tidwell, is Mr. Durand on your pretrial services watch?
He was assigned to my caseload, Your Honor. I have not seen or heard from him.
Well, that's a problem. Let me find out when we sent notice for the show cause. notice was sent to the defendant May 3rd, notifying him to be here today at 2 o'clock. It's 2:15. The defendant has not appeared. He's not making contact with pretrial services. He was ordered to do that on April the 26th. Bond will be revoked. A bench warrant will be issued. It will be immediate because we did show cause first. So this bond violation hearing, he's already received benefit of the statute. Will be adjourned on this case.
Thank
Q. Calling case now, People State of Michigan versus Justin David McCormick, file 210231SM. Good afternoon, sir. Please state your name for the record.
Justin McCormick.
Katrina, can you hear him okay?
Your Honor, if you could speak up, that would be great.
Justin McCormick.
Is that better?
Yes, sir.
McCormick, you're representing yourself?
As of right now, I was gonna get a paper to be the court-appointed attorney.
Okay, you're going to say it louder. I can hear you, but you're saying you want to get a court appointed. Why'd you wait so long?
I've been looking for another attorney, but I have no luck right now.
No luck or no money?
Well, a little of both.
Yeah, you're charged with aggravated assault, which is up to 1 year in jail. That's not something you should probably try to play attorney on your own accord. Mr. Alexander, are you the pretrial services coordinator for Mr. McCormick?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why did you have me review his bond? What's the concerns for him?
Well, Your Honor, originally we had a show cause on April 5th for him not complying with pretrial services after the release from jail. He was represented by attorney Robert Donahue at that time, and he had given Mr. McCormick another chance to comply with pretrial services. I met with Mr. McCormick out in the probation or the district court lobby. He had been referred to JNA counseling and evaluations for a domestic violence or basically a self-control intake. This is an aggravated assault charge. He was previously on probation for a domestic violence charge and had been going to JNA for that case. Your Honor, Mr. McCormick, after that meeting with him on April 5th, he failed to go to JNA on two different occasions, April 14th and May 6th. And so they had indicated in an email that he had missed two of the intakes. And I called there today. As of today, he had not rescheduled. I will say Mr. McCormick did leave me a voicemail during the lunch hour asking if all of his referrals could be transferred over to Gratiot Integrated Counseling, which I'm not familiar with.
I think it's Gratiot Integrated Health or something like that.
You live over in Ithaca?
Yeah.
Gratiot Integrated Health. Mr. Alexander, you familiar with them?
I'm not saying it doesn't exist, Your Honor. I'm just not familiar with them as far as providing anger management, domestic violence, assaultive type behavior counseling.
Well, Mr. McCormick, here's the thing. I really don't care where you get counseling from. It doesn't matter to me, but probably not going to get my engine overhauled at Fast Eddie's. Probably going to get an oil change, get my car washed, may have them do some transmission flush, but I'm probably not going to have them do the heavy mechanic work. Not because maybe they aren't skilled, but it's not what they're known for.
Right.
So Gratiot Integrated Health, it's going to be on you to show us that they offer that kind of services. So if they only deal with, drinking and substance abuse issues, maybe you need that, but we want to make sure you're making some decent decisions regarding your impulse control. But you want to have an attorney. Are you working right now?
Yeah.
Where?
With my brother. He owns Ultimate Cut Tree Service.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. We're going to have Mr. McCormick speak up if he would.
I have to use a little louder voice. You're working with your brother. What does he do?
We cut trees.
Cut trees. Okay. Well, do you want to have a hearing regarding whether or not you've been doing your pretrial services? I can appoint an attorney for you to do that, or are you going to admit that?
What was the question?
The allegation is that you failed to attend intake counseling for a second time on May 6th, which is violation of pretrial. So I ordered you to do something, you didn't do it. You can have a hearing regarding that, or you can admit it. Doesn't matter to me which way you want to go, but it's up to you. Do you wish, and I'll appoint an attorney for you if you want to have a hearing. The hearing will be about whether or not you went to pretrial services and went to the intake counseling. And I can modify your bond. I can revoke your bond because you're not following the terms of the bond, or I could order you again to go to a different place. But the question is whether or not you want to have a hearing or not is up to you.
I'll just admit to it.
You're going to admit to it? All right, stand, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. All right, come on, see. You're going to speak a little bit louder. You got a soft voice. So you understand you could have had a hearing regarding your allegations that you're not following through with the pretrial services, and you decided not to do that. I told you I'm going to appoint an attorney for you, but you would rather just acknowledge and admit today that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Is it true you're ordered on pretrial services to go to J&A counseling services?
Yes.
Did you have 2 appointments set up that you missed?
Yes.
Why did you miss them?
It's just a long drive back and forth from Ithaca.
It's a long drive back and forth to Midland County. Did you call Mr. Alexander and tell him you'd rather do things at Gratiot,
No, I
in
didn't.
Gratiot County?
No, I haven't. But
Why
when we
didn't you
had
do
talked-
that?
When we had talked, he said it didn't really, if I found someplace closer, that was all right.
So you already knew that you could, but you didn't follow up.
Yeah.
You didn't follow up, and Mr. Donahue, as your attorney, then ended up dropping you because you weren't following up with him either. Right?
Yes.
When's the next date we have for the defendant?
I'm looking right now, Your Honor. Your Honor, he is set for a jury trial on July 8th with a settlement conference on July 6th at 8:45 a.m. However, we are appointing an attorney, so I'm guessing you would like me to set up for another settlement conference?
I do. The attorney may not want to have a jury trial. They may want to negotiate, or they might want to have a jury trial, either way. At this point in time, because you've not followed up on a number of other cases, I am going to revoke your bond at this point in time, remand you to the custody of the sheriff. We're going to have a pre-settlement conference for you on June 1st. What time, Katrina?
Your Honor, we will also do it at 9:45 a.m.
9:45 a.m. We'll do it by Zoom. I want you to talk with whoever you can at the jail to figure out how you can get this assessment done. You're not following the orders when you're out. It doesn't mean you have to stay there. June 1st, I may let you back out again, but I want to see what you're doing.
Sir. I'm supposed to pick up my kids today.
Somebody else is going to have to pick up your kids today. This is, and especially if you're a father, you have to set expectations for people, your kids. You set expectations, and when they don't follow them up, you have to make sure that they understand that if you don't do something or you do something you're not supposed to, that there's consequences so that they learn and not do it again.
And that's why I'm trying to prove to you guys that I'm doing this.
But you've not done any of it. Now, the issue is you would have gone to jail either way, whether you admitted or not admitted. It makes me more likely to let you back out again on June 1st because I can see some growth. But you're going to have to take, this has to be your top priority. Even I know you have family and I know you need to have money. When you have a criminal justice case over the top of you, it's got to be your top priority. Then we add back in everything else. I want you to talk to whoever you can at the jail to try to get things set up. So when we let you back out again, I know that you're going to do it. I'm setting the expectations for you, and I'll look at your bond again on June 1st. They don't want you in the jail any more than I want to put you in. But I want to make sure you understand that there's consequences. And it's really important you understand that because you've got really big things hanging over your head. I ordered these pretrial services. You know what? It really helps the people that are going. Because when you go, when you get done, if you've done everything you're supposed to, your sentence is a lot shorter. I just do that. I think people ought to have the chance to earn it. But I also have to be on the other side. When you're not doing what you're supposed to do, I gotta make it sting so that you do what you're supposed to do. So that when it comes time to sentencing, I'll look and go, gosh, there's nothing more you really can do. We're gonna have a shortened sentence or a shortened time period. So I'm hoping to let you back out on June 1st, but I'd like you to get a plan. You're gonna have nothing but to think about what stuff you're gonna have to do.
Not call my girlfriend and say I'm not gonna be
I think
there.
you have somebody here with you, right?
They don't, my girlfriend don't talk to him.
Ah, well, hopefully she will. The jail may let you talk to your girlfriend, but right now you're remanded. All right, we're all set, I think, for this afternoon, at least until 3:30.
Oh, I gotta know.
We have the innocent owner petition.
I do, Your Honor, for Brianna Thompson.
Okay. Is she the person that's asking for it, or is there another person?
The owner of the vehicle is Terry Horn.
Okay. Oh, here we are. Oh, wait. Did Terry Horn appear, Katrina?
I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
I know you just got back. I'm sorry. Did Terry Horn appear?
No, Your Honor.
Well, did you see, Ms. Branson, did you see the petition?
The blank petition? Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, I'm not granting the request. It's a blank petition, and it didn't say why he shouldn't be forfeited, and he didn't appear to say, I'm presuming it's a he. Could be he, Terry Lee Horn, could be. But the person who owns the vehicle, I'm not authorizing you to, let me state it the other way. I'm ordering you to have the vehicle immobilized and issue notice to the Secretary of State.
Okay, will do. Thank you, Your Honor.
Request is denied. Thank you.
That's it, Your Honor.